A Kind Voice Radio.
Hello, welcome, and howdy to A Kind Voice on Music. I'm your host, Mitch Ruth, and we're really glad you decided to join us. We're here to explore the music and musicians that can inspire us to use our kind voices to make the world a better place to be. Our guest today is the founding member of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, Randle Chowning. Now, the Daredevils had such hits in the 70s as Jackie Blue and If You Want to Get to Heaven. But, time marches on, and Randle's still going strong and working on a new set of songs under the name Ozark Joe. And we'd like to welcome to A Kind Voice on Music, Randle Chowning. It's a real pleasure, Randle. Howdy.
Well, howdy back to you. Mitch, I so appreciate this, and I hope that your listeners will enjoy what we got coming up here. So
it's such pleasure to get to talk to somebody that I've listened to for a long time and to share a little bit of time with you, and I get to ask you some questions. So I'm doing good. But we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get straight into the music and let folks hear what's going on with you now. The first thing we've got for everybody tonight is a song called Hey Boys.
Got your chainsaw crew. Come 5 o'clock, we'll be cutting loose. Not a drop till the last one falls. Where the buck stops, finds us getting lost. Hey boys, meet me back in town. The devil won't get us when the sun goes down. Hey boys, have another round. The devil won't get us when the sun goes down. Shore to shore, yard by yard, door to door, you can see our mark. We may be poor, but we're strong. We built the floor that you're standing on. Hey boys, meet me back in town. The devil won't get us when the sun goes down. Hey boys, have another round. The devil won't get us when the sun goes down. Carpenter, I'm not like him, but I do work in God's woods where the deer do play. Make me a good boss of pine someday. Hey boys, meet me back in town. The devil won't get us when the sun goes down. Hey boys, have another round. The devil won't get us when the sun goes down. The devil won't get us when the sun goes down.
And that's Hey Boys from Randle Chowning. And we're really glad to have Randle on the show today, founding member of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. I just can't tell you how pleased and tickled I am to have you on tonight. And it's a pleasure just to talk with a fellow I grew up listening back in the mountains of East Kentucky. Now, Randle, you started the Ozark Mountain Daredevils way back in 1971. You hit with If You Want to Get to Heaven in 1973. You stayed with the band until about 1976, then you went out on your own. You never really quit. So it's kind of safe to say that you're now in a career that's spanned about 5 decades and a ton of changes in the music industry. You're engaged now in writing, producing a new album of original songs, and you're using Kickstarter to crowdsource fund the effort. Now, you want to let us all know how that's going?
Well, it's gone really well. I was a little bit reluctant to go on to Kickstarter because it's mainly younger people than myself, and then I saw just last year Kenny Loggins was on there, and he did quite well. And then of course, I assume everybody knows Loggins and Messina, and who Kenny Loggins is. And I thought, well, that's encouraging, because I felt like, that people might think, well, these guys they've had their time and they've made their money or whatever. And then also later, right after I saw Kenny Loggins on Kickstarter, a gentleman named Tom Paxton was on there.
Yeah.
And Tom, a lot of people don't know who Tom Paxton is. He's 78 years old. He's a songwriter. His first folk album came out in 1962. And when I saw Tom on there after Kenny Loggins, I went, you know what? I'm going to turn 65 here in April. I went, I can do this. I can make this happen. And it worked out really great. It's really energizing, actually, because compared to a record company where you really don't see where the money comes from to do your project, you know that you have support. In this case, the people. And you if you don't know them, you're going to get acquainted with them. And so it's of the people, by the people. And so I feel so much more energized. This is going to be a recording like I never made before, and it just so happens it's going to be kind of folk and acoustic, folk oriented, original songs with some traditional folk songs. So it all comes together in folk music for folks, so to speak.
Well, we've talked about it several times on our show because most of our guests, I find on Kickstarter, and I was tickled to death to see you there and find you, and I knew I had to ask, just the second I saw the page. It's like we've discussed before about how this makes it possible that all of a sudden the fans become the executive producers of the project, and we're finally answering to the fans. And as for age, brother, I'll tell you, I've seen I've seen a few people a few years older than you on there who've done some good things. So it's I don't think it's an age thing. But let me ask you this: do you think you would have liked to have had something like Kickstarter back when the Daredevils were getting started?
Oh, I think that would have been fantastic. Now, I will say that our record label, A&M Records, is probably, they are legendary.
Yes.
As far as the record label, they were probably the best record label that this country's ever seen or ever going to see. They were an independent
yes, they were.
Organization, and it was Herb Alpert and Jerry Moss. And
yes.
Real quickly, Alpert, they played trumpet and had this band called the Tijuana Brass, And Jerry Moss was his classmate at Hollywood High. Everybody loved the Tijuana Brass out in L.A. and East L.A., and they couldn't get a record company interested. They couldn't get arrested, and so they Cinderella Story. They decided to borrow some money and just put out their own records, and they had a huge number one hit right out of the box with a thing called Lonely Bull. Instrumental trumpet music in the 60s. This is just prior to Jimi Hendrix, And
yes,
so,
it is.
And they had all these instrumental hits and were a huge success when nobody, thought they had a hillbilly's chance. But at any rate, times have changed. But anyhow,
you can say hillbilly to me. I love it.
The long and short of it was they were a very artist-oriented record company. So, but having said that, they were still a corporation, and they didn't understand our fans necessarily. So there was we were a group from the middle of America going to Hollywood, and it was it was tremendous. It really was.
Well, when you reached out to the fans, were you? I don't know. Were you kind of surprised at the support you got, or was it, something you were like, well, maybe I know all these people, we can get this done?
It happened really before we were ready. It really did. I mean, we were in raggedy old clothes and little bitty amplifiers out opening up for Chicago in stadiums and opening up for Loggins and Messina. In huge stadiums. People at the record company even echoed that. They said, well, this is great, but maybe this is happening too fast. So overnight, I would say overnight success is great if you're ready for it. We had played, all of us had recorded and played in different groups and stuff, separate. And then when we got we had experience, but as a group, we were very, very raw and fresh. And when you hit and things happen, it's a quick study in getting stage ready.
Yeah. All of a sudden, instead of being able to see the bar, you see the far end of the stadium and exactly. I can't tell you. We played at a huge outdoor festival at Charlotte and at the Motor Speedway there, and there was everybody on that show, Allman Brothers, and oh gosh, it was like a 2-day thing. And that was one occasion where I stood out on the stage, and they had the stage across the infield, across the oval, and then left and right, as far as I could see, left and right were people, just in the distance. Now across the infield, across the oval, I could see the bleachers on the other side. But when I looked left and right, the crowd just kind of disappeared. And I'm going, I've got this little, and I really, seriously, and I went, I've got this little bitty Fender amplifier. I sure hope this sound system's really good, because I can't imagine what those people down here a half mile to my left are hearing. And it was a great, it was a wonderful thing to be there. We flew to the Speedway, to the gig in a helicopter. The only time I've ever been in one. Oh, and, my goodness!
They're kind of like elevators. It's kind of like flying in an elevator. But no, I mean it takes a Black Oak, Arkansas. That was another group that was there.
Yep.
What's his name? Wolfman Jack was the MC.
Oh,
Charlotte Motor Speedway.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Randle, we're gonna take a little break right now. We're gonna come back and we're gonna play some more music. I want to hear some more of these stories. Got a few more questions for you, but we're going to be back with Randle Chowning right after these messages.
There's nothing wrong with reaching out when you need I'll be there for you, and maybe you can be for me. With a kind voice, a few kind words, an open ear for when you need to be heard, a warm heart, we can make that choice to be a kind voice, a few kind words.
Hi, my name is Azim Kamisa. In January of 1995, while delivering pizzas to help him through college, my son Tariq was senselessly murdered by a 14-year-old gang member. Tariq was a wonderful young man who could light up the room with a joke. In the search to relieve my pain, I needed to find a way to use the sadness from this tragedy to help others. So by the end of 1995, after months of agonizing pain and introspection, I chose to start an organization to help stop kids from killing kids. And I reached out in forgiveness to the killer's grandfather and guardian in brotherhood. We have worked together, speaking to over 1 million youth and adults all over the world in bringing the lessons of peace and nonviolence for 20 continuous years. Now I'm asking you to add your kind voice to our efforts. For a peaceful world, we all need to embrace peace and forgiveness. We need you as a peacemaker, having forgiven the past, any enemies, and at last having forgiven yourself for any wrongdoing. To learn more, go to my website, azimkamisa.com. There you'll find my story in a trilogy of books, From Murder to Forgiveness, followed by From Forgiveness to Fulfillment, followed by From Fulfillment to Peace, as well as a download for a free guided meditation dedicated to your peace. Again, the website is azimkamisa.com, which is azimkamisa.com. It is indeed time for peace.
A Kind Voice Radio.
And welcome back to A Kind Voice on Music. Our guest today is Randle Chowning, founding member of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. And we're going to listen to a song of yours. This is a live recording, and you can find this on Randle's YouTube page. This is a song called Devil Dogs. All right, man. You still got lots of great songs coming out. Randle, tell me what kinds of things influence your songwriting.
It may be something I see on the news, or just a thought, or just a title, a theme, something that I feel like I need to do. When I hear Devil Dogs, which I've yet to define in a real studio recording, that was just that was a groove. It was. I would point out that there's a very fine line between folk music and blues and what is now called rock and roll. I listen to that and I hear myself swatting that guitar and singing, and I've got a harmonica and a rack. I mean, I'm a one-man thing there.
Yeah, that's just you.
And, there's no net. If I drop out, the difference is the song, or how I choose to play the harmonica, and it's a little more bluesy than the stuff that Bob did, but it's still folk music. So if it's more a little blues oriented, with a little bit of, if you start beating on the guitar a certain way, then it becomes what people would say it's rock and roll. Back to the inspiration, that's just a hillbilly. That is the hill country, Devil Dogs, Down in the Hollow. It's not based on any true story, so to speak, but it's an environmental song, I guess you would say.
Okay.
It's what I grew up with. So.
Well, what do you think in the years you've been songwriting? What do you think has changed most about your songwriting over the years?
Oh, I think I lived in Nashville for almost 10 years, and we had a little bit of success in Nashville. I think I've just learned to just to write what really moves me, and believe in myself in that regard, that what moves me will move other people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Carrie Underwood's next single. I've tried to write commercially and had a little bit of success doing that, but it's just commercial writing it's contrived from the get-go. If you're sitting here going, if you're going, I've got to write this Carrie Underwood's next single, that's contrived. And that to me, that's not the way it should be. I think it should be something that you're really passionate about, and that you have a little bit of poetry. I think poetry and lyrics, the song lyrics should hold up, even if you can't hear the music or the singer. If you read it, if you just read it, it should have an impact.
Well, when you talk about things that move you, this next song, it's got to be one of those, because Carrie Underwood would like to sing this song, I think. But I love this one because I personally had a jet black Murray riding lawnmower that I loved a lot. We're going to listen to Lawnmower Man next, but you want to set this song up for us, Randle?
Well, absolutely. I want to do a shout-out to Bobby Taylor. Bobby Taylor co-wrote a song called Hillbilly Shoes that Montgomery Gentry recorded. Bobby is a great writer and has had a lot of success in Nashville, and it was his idea, and we co-wrote this song. And he just said one day, he said, well, I've got to go mow the lawn. It's a great escape. And so Bobby Taylor, it was his inspiration, and three grown men sat around a table one day in Nashville one afternoon, and we wrote Lawnmower Man.
All right. Well, here it is, the Randle Chowning song with his friends called Lawnmower Man.
best way in the world to unwind. 17 horses and an overhead cam. Good God Almighty, I'm a lawnmower man. 40-inch bushwhacker wound out to 10. I'm talking about more than a little trim. That woman of mine, she don't understand what it's like to be a lawnmower man. Round and around I go. Oh, I live to mow, grow grass, grow. Cut it for me. I sawed up a trailer when I ran out of trees. Not to mention what it did to my hands. Forget the color, I'm a lawnmower man. Round and around I go. That's the key. You got to fertilize your therapy. It grows all year down in Alabama. What a paradise for a lawnmower man. Round and around I go. I live to mow, grow grass, grow. And if you keep some gas on hand, then you could be a lawnmower man. I'm your buzz.
And that's a real man song right there. That's Lawnmower Man from Randle Chowning. Now, we're going to pause now for our good news report, and we'll be back with Randle Chowning right after this.
Hi, everyone. This is your host, Brianna Dincher. Welcome to the Good News Report, where we deliver exciting and happy news from all around the world. Today's story is actually quite shocking and unbelievable, really proving to never lose hope in anything. Larry Furzig is a treasure hunter who likes to search beaches with his metal detector to discover buried treasure near the oceans. On one of his many journeys, he came across a ring that was hidden in the pebbles and sand. The ring had the letters MTS, referring to the old Mount Tamalpais school, with the initials RF engraved inside. Larry tracked down the ring's owner, who was Robert Fowler, having lost that same ring 35 years ago when he was just 17 years old. The ring and its owner were finally reunited after so many years of being apart. This is definitely a very extraordinary and hard to believe, but such extreme miracles do happen out there in the world. So next time you lose hope in something, remember this story and let it support you in any situation, extreme or not. To go along with this incredible story, this week's quote of the week is, "Don't lose hope. When the sun goes down, the stars come out." Thank you for listening to this good news story, and I hope it has inspired you to always remain hopeful no matter what happens. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.
A Kind Voice Radio.
And welcome back to A Kind Voice on Music. Now, our show is part of the bigger mission of A Kind Voice Radio, which is to make our world a kinder, more connected place, one conversation at a time. Now, to fulfill our mission, we need lots of kind voices joining the conversation. So, if you're a part of some good news or you come across something good that you think should be shared during our good news segment, please go to www.akindvoice.org/news and let us know about it. Now, our guest today is Randle Chowning, founding member of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, and we're going to just get right into another song of his. This song is called Little Crosses.
Headed home for the holiday to see some family and a few old friends of mine. Looking over at the shoulder, something caught my eye. A woman was kneeling in prayer. It was more than I could bear. Little crosses on the highway, driven in the ground, bitter teardrops on a mother's face, more than you can count. They stand for love's greatest losses, little crosses, little crosses. From the shores of Normandy to high on Calvary, far too many line the road. It makes me stop and think and appreciate each minute I hold in the warmth of my Father's house. I'll pray for those who set out, little crosses on the highway, driven in the ground, bitter teardrops on a mother's face, more than you can count. They stand for love's greatest losses, little crosses, little crosses.
Now, that was Little Crosses from Randle Chowning. And that tune, Randall, that tune has a real nice country music sound to it. Now, do you think, we talked a little bit about this before, about how close they were, but do you think that the cross-fertilization of country music and rock music is more pronounced today, or has it pretty much always been an influence?
What I see today is more acoustic, more what they call acoustic rock, folk rock, especially out of Europe. So I would say it is. If there is a line between country and rock, or blues and rock and country, that's pretty much dissolving, I think. Now, having said that, what does that have to do with country radio or any of the, I think alternative radio and the internet and what's going on is really, people are going to download what they download. So, time is going to tell. I see it in advertising, and I see it on TV. I see a singer with a guitar, doing a little bit of a song that somebody's adapted for their product. And you go, well, that sounds like folk, or well, maybe that sounds like rock and roll. Blah blah blah. So I think the breaking down of the barriers is real important. I think we're on the cusp of a real change, I think, of a just going back to a period that was important that maybe got looked over very quickly. So
hadn't thought of it like that. That's an interesting.
Well, I think so. I think because here's the deal. When I was being born in 1950, when I was a young boy, what I heard during the daylight hours was folk music. And then my brother, because I said, my father was a radio man, and we got Memphis radio. I heard rock and roll at night, or what they called rock and roll, and it was seemed very frightening to me.
Really?
So, yeah, I did because I wasn't exposed to it in the daylight.
I guess I can understand that. Yeah. I can understand that because I had the same kind of experience with like new wave and punk music when I was, just coming of age. So, I get that.
It seemed threatening and frightening in a way. But it boils back down to the same thing. It's like in Nashville they would say they'd say 3 chords and the truth. It boils down to what people relate to and what makes sense, and what or is it just dribble? Is it just a beat? A beat is a beat. You can dance to a beat. You don't have to have a melody or a singer. If you've just got a good beat that's, hitting at you, you can dance to that.
Well, that's right.
You don't have to have a song. So I think that, right now that we're seeing it come back to a kind of a more or less a folk root thing, where you've got a singer and a guitar and whatever, and
just sing about everyday things, I guess.
Well,
this next song,
something that makes sense. I mean, makes sense. Well,
I'll tell you, this next song is, you're talking about growing up, and I'd be in trouble if I didn't play this. This is, I told you this coming in. Growing up, you worked your way into the soundtrack of my life with this next song, and we used to sit and we'd go fishing at night. And we'd sit out on the riverbank all night, and this was before you had little radios, and we would sing to each other, and this song right here made its way into the regular rotation of those songs that we sung. And we're gonna listen to the song from your days with the Daredevils, and this one is called Chicken Train.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Thanks to all the chicken.
Thanks, Marshfield.
Thanks for all the chicken. That's Chicken Train from Randle Chowning, and lots of good memories with that song. Now we're going to be back with Randle Chowning right after these messages.
This is NASCAR driver Kurt Busch, and I am proud to support our nation's veterans. Do you know you can get a faster decision on your disability compensation claims by filing an electronic fully developed claim, or e-claim, on eBenefits? Take it from a guy who lives his life in the fast lane. Faster is better. Visit ebenefits.va.gov today to learn more.
Hi, I'm Claire Bloom, and I started End 68 Hours of Hunger to put bags of food in the hands of local children who have little or nothing to eat for the 68 hours between the free lunch they get in school on Friday and the free breakfast they get in school on Monday. Our vision is to end childhood hunger in America one school at a time, and that's how we operate. We start programs wherever we have 2 volunteers in a community who are prepared to step up and take responsibility for running the program, and we grow from there. Today, we're feeding 900 children each weekend in 29 communities, and we're growing. If you're interested in starting a program in your community, please visit our website at www.end68hoursofhunger.org and click on the tab at the top of the page that says FAQ. Everything you need to know about starting a program is there, including videos on how to talk with groups, how to set up your space, and even what kind of food to include in the bags. Feel free to reach out to me at n68hoursofhunger@gmail.com.
A lot has changed from when Nola Osh started school until the time she finished.
When I received my diploma, it was a big to-do.
At 95 years young, Nola became the world's oldest college graduate.
If we don't concentrate on our ages, we go ahead and do things as if we were younger.
So no matter how old you are, live life and pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
Kind Voice Radio.
And welcome back to A Kind Voice on Music. I'm Mitch Ruth, your host, and our guest today is Randle Chowning, founding member of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Now, Randle, let's talk about where people can find out about what you're doing and where they can get this new album out when it releases. Oh, now the new album, the title of that, is that going to be Ozark Joe? Am I right on that, or am I wrong?
That's correct. It will be Ozark Joe. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But let folks know about where they can go to the Kickstarter and get you a little bit of that stretch money, and where they can find you on the web.
Well, they can go to ozarkjoe.com, and also randlechowning.com is the best thing to do at this point. Our fundraising is closed on Kickstarter.
Okay.
But, if they want to go to either one of these websites, ozarkjoe.com, randlechowning.com, we would love to get your. It's a pre-order for the CD that is coming up, and it's going to feature, I think, what is the core of Ozark Mountain Daredevil type music, which is kind of folk rock. Which is what I grew up with, more or less. So, yeah, it's
great stuff, I'll tell you.
We welcome everybody.
So you want to go ahead and go there, and you can go ahead and get the support directly. Don't even have to go through Kickstarter anymore. But it was a successful campaign. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth, Randle, that most of my guests, by the time they get on the show, have met their goals. I think what it is when you decide to come on, it's good luck for you. I think I'm good luck for people. I just want to get that out there and let folks know.
I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling like going to Buffalo Run in Oklahoma here. It's not very far, and play the slot machine.
That's fantastic. Well, now, are you? I didn't check as close this time around as I normally do. But are you playing out? Are you out on the road? Going to be out on the road any in the near future when you get things done?
Right now, I'm focusing on getting this CD together. I will be traveling and going out on the road probably June, in the warm season. And by the way, I'm open to doing house concerts. So anybody in your area that wants to have a house concert, that's what I really love to do. And
all right.
So I'm going to be doing a lot of those things and being out this summer. And I'll have Ozark Joe will be done. It has to be done, really, by end of April, May.
Okay,
so
great.
The new CD will be done. So.
Now, who's helping you with the album? Are there some people you'd like to mention
sure.
that are helping out on this deal?
Well, yes, Larry Lee, who was our drummer and singer in the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. He's going to be a part of it. And Michael Brewer, who was half a brewer in Shipley, one toke over the line.
Yeah.
And some other.
Oh wait, I
shouldn't
react so favorably to that song, should I? Okay.
Well, those guys. I mean, those guys have had a resurgence of popularity because of legalization. Now here we go. This is political. But anyhow, Mike Brewer is a great friend and a supporter of of our music from the get-go, and so he's going to be a part of it as well. And it's it's going to be folk rock. It's not. I don't think it'll put you to sleep. I think it's going to be
no.
This CD is going to be high energy, and it comes from folk roots, and I love the house concerts, and Jimmy Messina does them as well. So
there you
go.
Go.
Like
Get
I'm
out
in
and
good company.
Well, you didn't. I don't think you got into this line of work to not be around people. So I mean, why not? But let's. We're gonna go ahead before we say goodbye here. I want to listen to one more tune from you, Randle, and just before I get into that, I really appreciate you being here with us. And but I want to listen to one more song of yours. This song is a really great one, and just hit me right in the eyes, and I loved it. This song is called Ghost of Perryville.
Mm-hmm.
That was never understood. She liked to drink corn liquor in the woods, and some say she was pretty, some say no. Wilder than a wild Irish rose. None moved through the stones were without guilt. They say she moved away across the hills. No matter how you play, with time you give, you'll never see the ghost of Perryville. Sheriff keeps a picture near his heart. The banker has a jewelry in both cars. The mayor's staying close to the family. He swore that he could solve the mystery. None moved through the stones were without guilt. They say she moved away across the hills. No matter how you play, with time you give, you'll never see the ghost of Perryville. The minister has little on his mind. He sells his story Sunday for a dime. The deacon disappeared down in Mexico. The only thing that's clear is the case is closed. None moved through the stones were without guilt. They say she moved away across the hills. No matter how you play, with time you give, you'll
And that's the Ghost of Perryville from Randle Chowning. And that's, like I said, that's just a great song. Just enjoy it very much. Randle Chowning, sir, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I want to say that I really appreciate you taking some time and visiting with us. And it's been a pleasure to visit with you and talk with you for the last hour. Can't believe we're all already almost done. And so I'm going to ask you, is there anything you'd like to tell everybody before we say goodnight?
Well, I would like to say thank everybody for listening, and I hope that some of these songs strike you in a way, affect you, and that's what it's all about. So I so appreciate it.
Well, like I said, thanks for being with us, Randle. Randle Chowning, sir, have a great evening.
Thank you, Mitch.
Now, we want to remind you that A Kind Voice on Music is just one of a greater network of shows from A Kind Voice Radio, where we seek to make the world a kinder and more connected place, one conversation at a time. Now, you can find us at akindvoice.org. Now, on that website, you can go to the A Kind Voice on Music page, where you'll find a lot of our most recent shows archived, including shows by my fellow Kind Voice on Music hosts, Tyler Wolf and Kenny Fulton. Additional shows, there are shows on books, there are shows on philosophy, there are shows on using your kind voice to make your community a better place. You can also find us on Facebook. Just like I said, look us up, search Facebook and be our friend, because that's what Kind Voices do. They're friendly. Now, if you'd like to contact me personally, you can email me at mitch@akindvoice.org. That's mitch@akindvoice.org. And if you've got any suggestions or comments, I'd love to hear them. I always like to get feedback from the show, so I'd appreciate that. Now, the last thing we want to do is we want to remind everybody that as you travel through this world, everybody you meet has their own story, and they also have their own set of troubles. So we want you to be sure to use your kind voice to make someone else's day a little better. Because the secret is that we are all more alike than any of us care to admit. I'm Mitch Ruth. Thanks for listening.
How's your day? Come take my arm, let's walk and sink away. I want to know your thoughts now, yes it's true. And that bluebird, he flew by now just for you. You step outside, you don't know who you'll meet. Of the street.